Welcome back to Justice. Time for my panel to battle it out. Former Secret Service agent and NRA TV contributor Dan Bongino, along with radio show host and former aide to Chuck Schumer, Chris Hahn. They both join me now. All right, gentlemen, I want to start with Syria, and then I want to go to the Jim Comey book. But the one thing that I remember about Syria was last year when John Kerry and Susan Rice said that Russia was going to keep a handle on the creation of chemical weapons. And that John Kerry, I have a quote here from 3 years ago, saying Russia has been constructive in helping to remove 100% of the chemical weapons from Syria. The agreement we made was a good agreement. And Obama pipes in and says, you know, it was very important for us to work with Russia. I guess it didn't work out so well, did it, Chris?
I guess not. I guess now they see they've got a partner in President Trump, so they kind of let a little slack go. But I will say this, Judge, I do approve of this strike. I think you got to send the message when somebody uses chemical weapons. I think the problem I have is that many Americans are concerned about what the motivation for this is. I am not concerned, but I think that the president needs to get that concern under control. It's something that he has to do by stop tweeting about things that are not him being president. Just worry about his job right now, and everything else will work itself out if he's innocent like he says he is.
Well, go ahead, Dan.
Chris, listen, you know I look forward to these debate sessions, but please tell me, please.
I do too.
Tell me you are not insinuating remotely that President Trump dropped a series of deadly bombs on a Russian client state to distract from. I hope you weren't suggesting
but
that,
along
right?
with the UK and France.
Hold on a minute. I did not say that. I said I am not concerned about that. But I do think...
No, you said that you're suspicious about the timing.
No. I think that there are many Americans who might be suspicious, and the president owes it to this country to make sure that they are not. And it is his own behavior that has made people suspicious. I am not suspicious. I approve of these strikes. I think when people use chemical weapons, when Assad uses chemical weapons, we need to beat him down for it. And I approve of what the president did, and I approve what our allies did. But there are significant Americans who are concerned about the motivation, and that's on the president and his staff to control.
Dan?
Well, you should seek professional help if you actually believe that because you've got the timeline one all wrong, okay? The president's tweets, the gas attack, and then the information that broke about Cohen. You've got the timeline completely backwards in an effort to invent a wag the dog conspiracy. Chris, seriously. I love you, buddy, but there's got to be some mental health professional close to you that can treat you for this Trump derangement syndrome. I can't believe you're suggesting this.
Danny boy.
I have to, you know what, guys, I have to add something.
IFP.
Yeah, Chris, how could you say,
broke, Dan?
Chris, how can you possibly say that some Americans are worried about the motivation? The guy's gassing kids, his own people. What else do you need? You got Obama who made believe he was going to draw a line in the sand. Are people believing or proud of what he didn't do?
Judge, I am not saying that I believe that. I am not saying that I believe that, but I am saying it is reasonable. It is reasonable to expect that there is a significant percentage of the population that questions his motivation here. And that is because of the way the president has acted all week.
No. Time out. Judge, this is the same percentage of the population that believes in Russian collusion despite no evidence whatsoever, okay? So when Chris quotes a significant percentage of the population, he's talking about his coastal liberal elite friends who eat foie gras for lunch and dine in bow ties all day. He's not talking about anyone else in real America.
Hold on, Dan. I have seen your recipes. You've got some foie gras on your website now, in your coastal home in Florida. Please.
All right, guys, let's talk about Jim Comey's book. Now, there are no reveals in the book, Chris. I mean, it sounds like a petty little, a couple of little girls. So he did this and he did that and he said there's nothing in there other than Jim Comey trying to make himself the moral compass of America. Are you going to buy the book?
Yeah. No, I'm not going to buy the book because I'm not a fan of Jim Comey's, as you might imagine. I think Jim Comey's done a lot of damage the last 2 years of his career. And look, while I don't agree that the way the president fired him, I think that Jim Comey had a lot of hubris both during the 2016 election and then thereafter. And I think this book, he does get a little petty. I don't think we need a book where he's calling out the president for his height and the size of his hands. I think if he wanted to be taken seriously, he should have written a serious book about his career. And he probably should have waited at least another year or two until the special counsel wrapped up his investigation.
Dan?
Because I don't think we need to be having this conversation
Last
right
word
now.
on Jim Comey.
Well, Judge, hell is freezing over because I agree with Chris on this one. Jim Comey has been a disaster. Jim Comey is on the record telling Congress that he hid the most important counterintelligence investigation in U.S. history from them for 8 months, and he had no good reason why other than it was sensitive. That's the whole purpose of telling Congress about it. Jim Comey's lost all credibility.
I agree. You got to have congressional oversight. And again, even with Syria, I think if we keep going there, the president should go to Congress, and he should make them a partner in this, whatever happens.
Dan Bongino, Chris Hahn, thanks for being on, both of you. And what is going on in the FBI? We'll talk about all of it with former DOJ lawyer J. Christian Adams. Don't go away. We'll talk about McCabe, too.